Hey, hey. Whoa. Incredible. Okay, okay, okay. Very good. I wonder if you have, I don't know if you can hear me now. Shouldn't be able to. Everyone, hello, welcome to this stream. Hi, I'm a little late today because I want to finish something and it didn't see time pass as always, so there's that. So let me try to set up my things. All right. Last week we worked on badges. There's been quite some progress done this week on that, so that's cool. I can make you a short summary of where it's at. I've also been working on various things this week. Fedora Messaging for one, and that's what I was doing before the stream, and that I stopped doing. Let me check. There seems to be different sources. These are different sound sources. Is the sound okay? What happens if I remove that? Yeah, that might have been an echo. I hope it's better now. Okay, I don't know why there was an additional mic set up in OBS. I don't know. All right, I've raised the sound a little bit. Hopefully it's not too loud. Hope the sound is okay again. That's always the question. Light is a bit weird. Let me fix that. Hopefully I'll find something that fits. Blah, blah, blah. No. How about that? Not sure it's any better. Anyway, that'll have to do. All right. Yes, where was I at? Let me check who's here first. The computer is so slow today. I did some updates, some upgrades with DNF and didn't really reboot, so that's not great. Also, I had a week of running very heavy programs, so maybe it has swapped out quite a few libraries that it's needing now. Computers. All right. So I can show you what I've been working on if you want. But if you have things that you want me to have a look at, I can totally do that. I have flagged recently a ticket as a good first issue, but I don't really remember where that was. I think, where did I do that? I think it was, so it was good first issue. I think it was in GitHub, I believe. Ah, yeah, that was in SQL Alchemy Helpers. I remember that. Okay, let me share my screen first, so you'll see what we're talking about. Where are you, program? All right, you should be able to see the screen now. Okay, SQL Alchemy Helper. So SQL Alchemy Helper is a library that I wrote a while back, a few months ago, maybe I started maybe a year ago or something. SQL Alchemy Helpers is, as its name indicates, it's a set of helper libraries, functions, modules for to use SQL Alchemy in various contexts. It makes some assumption about how you want to use SQL Alchemy. The aim is to bridge it with not alchemy, Alembic. That's wrong. Let me edit that. And not Alembic. Yeah. the aim is to give you some sane defaults for SQL Alchemy and Alembic. And the reason I wrote that was that we were basically cutting and pasting the same code in different Flask projects in the Fedora infrastructure, and it was being outdated, and there was some improvement that was done when we were working on an application, and those improvements weren't backported to other applications who had copy and pasted the code, obviously, because I always lose track of that. So it was time for a library. The idea here is to integrate the two as well as possible to give you some functions you can use to create the library, for example, to create the database and have it stamped with Alembic, and you know, have the upgrades to the library, like make Alembic automatically use the SQL Alchemy URI, database URI, without having to repeat yourself into different configuration files, you know, having some utility functions such as get or create, or, you know, that sort of thing. It's all listed in the README, so feel free to look at it. And there's been an issue recently raised by someone who wanted to add an update or create function. So there is a get or create. You know, get or create is a pattern popularized by Django to let you, like, get or create. That's where it is right here. So with get or create, you give it defaults, and let me zoom a bit. You give it defaults, for example, get first name, last name, and if this person doesn't exist, then it's going to create it with the arguments that you've already given it, and save it. So it's pretty useful. That's something that you do very frequently. So yeah, and it gives you it gives you a tuple as a result. One is the object that has been either created or gotten from the database, and the second argument is a Boolean that tells you whether it's been created or not. So Django also has something called update or create, which does pretty much the same thing, I'd say. Except this time it's about so it assumes that the well, no, it doesn't. So it tries to fetch the object from the database, and if it's been if it doesn't exist, then it creates it, and it updates then this object. It then updates this object with the values, the updated values that you've given it, and it updates either the object coming from the database or the new object that has been created, right? That's pretty simple, and so this person wanted to have something like that in the library as well. At the moment, this library has a Flask integration because that's what we've been using it most, but it also has an integration for FastAPI. Let me show you that. Yeah, it has an integration for FastAPI, and it has some async IO features. So if you've been using SQL Alchemy and Alembic in web front-end projects, and you feel like you've been cutting and pasting the same module, database connection module, and upgrade and all that things to all your different projects, then have a look at that. It might save you some keystrokes and some maintenance above all. All right, so that's it. There's this one that is new. Do we have any other new things? I don't think we do. So I can give you an update on badges if you're interested in that. So as you may know, I have started working on the Badges Awarder program, which is called fedbadges. And so let me show you that. So fedbadges is a component that listens on the Fedora messaging bus, well, on the Fed message bus at the moment, and applies some rules to the message coming in. And if it matches, then it's going to award the badge associated with the rule. It's all background. It runs in the background. And there is no UI to that. And it communicates with two databases. One is the Tarrier database, the main database for badges, I'd say. And the other one is Datanommer. That's the place where we store a history of all the messages going through the bus. And the reason why we connect to Datanommer is because we have some pretty heavy queries to do. For example, there are badges associated with having built, I don't know, like 1,000 packages in Koji, for example. And to do that, we are going to look into our history of badges, of messages for all the messages that say that a package has been built, associated with the user that is currently that has emitted the badge that we're currently examining, and counting all that. And so it's a pretty heavy query, so we don't want to go through data grepper for that, and we make the query directly. So console, yes. Let me show you the console right now. That will be clearer, hopefully. So badges has a few problems that make it impossible to that force us to work on it at the moment. First, it's heavily wired into Fed message, and sorry, just a minute. Looking for that one-time token. And so we need to migrate that to Fedora messaging, and that means it's not just changing the consumer, because it's also executing things that are currently in Fed message meta Fedora infrastructure. It's a big library that knows how to understand messages going through the Fed message bus. And this has been replaced by schema in Fedora messaging. So there's more than just changing the consumer. Do we have something graphical that I could use? Workloads? Virtualization, build. There used to be a graphical way of seeing the pods. I wonder what that is. Is it in pods? No. Do I have a deployments maybe? No. There used to be a map of services in a project. I can't find that anymore. Too bad, because that was pretty. It was pretty. Services, that probably not that. Storage, no. Yeah. Anyway. That's administrator console. Let me check the developer console. Topology, that's the thing. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, there's quite a few of them. There are two main components. One is the front end, which is currently not running because I haven't worked on the front end yet. That's called Tarrier. And there's the consumer, right? That's the one that I've worked on. And the other one are cron jobs. CJ. All that is CJ. That's all cron jobs. Okay. So the consumer is running right now. And there is a repository of rules that is mounted on the consumer, so it can read them all and award badges according to those rules. right now it is running, and I've tested it. I've tested awarding a badge, and it worked. So I've tested only one badge. I know, and I had to make a change into the badges repository because there was something wrong with this, with it, some problem with case sensitiveness, I should say. So I changed that. So there might be other badges that are broken that need some fixing, but at least the round trip from getting a message to adding a badge to the user has been done. So that's cool. So yeah, so there's Fedora messaging. That's one thing that is a problem with the current implementation. It needs to be ported to Fedora messaging. The front end is using OpenID, and we are moving away from that to OIDC. So I know that Ryan has started working on the front end, Tarrier, to make it work with OIDC. So that's going to happen. That's cool. What else? Yeah, Datanommer has had some changes because in the meantime, we have moved Datanommer to timescale DB. And so yeah, there was a little bit of changes in how it was done because yeah, the init is a bit different, even though it's still the same library and the API should be the same. That was still, yeah, things were a little bit different. And I had to make a few changes in Datanommer. The main one is creating a script that goes through all existing messages and extract the username and put it in the username table. So you'd think this has been done before when the message was received, right? But messages, well, when we migrated to Fedora messaging, the schema came at their own pace. So most applications didn't have a schema at first. So without a schema, there is no way for a consumer, such as Datanommer, to extract the username from a message. All that was the information that was in fedmessage meta Fedora infrastructure. Without that, we need a schema, and few applications have written schemas. Okay, so there's been a lot of messages coming into the database that were sent without a schema or without knowing, or without the schema being installed on Datanommer itself. So I made a script that goes through existing messages, imports them as, well, exports them for the database, converts them into Fedora messages, extracts the username and sets that in the database. I've done that in staging for the wiki messages, the messages that are sent when you edit a wiki page. And yeah, it worked. Then the message, then I removed one of my badge in staging about editing your own username, your own user page in the wiki. And I did that, received the message. The message was received in the consumer. It did check into Datanommer, found that I did indeed get the message. Well, no, I did indeed edit my page and award me the badges. So that worked. Oh yeah, there's another change that was different in fedmessage, and that's that you didn't have a message broker. All the queues were in memory, more or less, on the clients. So you had a way to say, if I have a lot of messages in my in-memory queue, then my queue is... So the problem that was being fixed was that there was a problem, there was a race condition, to be honest, to be clear, between fedbadges, the consumer, and Datanommer. Because fedbadges is going to look into Datanommer to count the existing messages or the existing actions that are similar to the messages that you receive. So it needs the message that is just received to be in Datanommer itself, right? So there was some sort of race condition that could happen where you get the message in the consumer first in fedbadges and it hasn't been stored in Datanommer yet. So you make the query and you don't find the right number. So there was a way to try to compensate for that. the consumer was looking into its in-memory queue with fedmessage. And if there was a lot of messages there, then it would assume that the messages have been already stored by Datanommer. Because if you have a lot of messages in your queue and you assume that Datanommer's queue is much smaller because it's doing a lot less processing, it's just storing messages in the database. And if you do that, then yeah, if you have a big queue in your memory, then there are very good chances that the message is already in Datanommer. And if there was no messages in your own queue, then there was the highest risk of race condition, and it would just wait. It would run a time.sleep command and wait for the message to be hopefully stored in Datanommer by that time. I changed that instead of doing that, because I can't examine the size of my own queue on the server. Maybe I could. Meh, it's really not practical. That's not how it's designed. So I can do that. So instead, I'm just making a query to Datanommer for the message that I'm receiving. I'm just asking Datanommer, have you received the message with the ID X that I'm just receiving? And if I find it in the database, then I keep going. If I don't find it in the database, then I pause for like half a second and try again. So the downside of that is that it's going to make more queries to Datanommer. I think it's not a problem because now that Datanommer is on timescaledb, queries for very recent data should be extremely fast. And it's also querying an indexed field, which is the message ID. That should be fast. So yeah, all the circumstances are there to avoid hammering too much on Datanommer. It's not going to make more than 2 queries per second, which is not a lot for a big database. So yeah, I think it should be fine. And it's also much more secure than just waiting a random amount of time and hoping that the message has been inserted. All right. So there were quite a few changes that I had to make. It seems to be running. I don't think it's running in a worse situation than it was before. As far as the consumer is concerned, though. There is a cron job that updates the rules with the repo, so that's that. And there are a few cron jobs that award badges depending on existing stuff that happened. So I'm going to look at one of them. Can I look at the logs here? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's failed. Let me look at why it failed. That's not going this terminal, going to be this terminal. That's much smaller, but now I'm going to try and do it in the graphical interface, see how that works. So I click on that. Award badges dev, cool. I have pods. Oh yeah, I need to resize my screen, my web browser, so you can actually see the things and they are not hidden by my camera. So there's this one, it failed. It has a view log link, just click on it, that's perfect. And it says client setup error authentication failed. That's very interesting. That means that it's not ready to do fast JSON queries, right? So that's probably an error in the definition of the pod. That's an easy fix. I can do that. Yeah, let me do that in the terminal that you can actually see. That will be much better. Okay. That's in the Ansible repository. Let me update it to the latest version. That's the Ansible repository, right? That's all public. It's in roles, OpenShift apps, badges, that's the name, templates, cron, award, that's one of them. Okay, so this here is the awarder, and it has a key tab volume. That's good. So the key tab, it's here. It should be deployed, but I don't see the environment variable. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So there should be an environment variable. Ah, that's where it is. I should set an environment variable to point at the key tab. Yeah. There should be an environment variable. Ah, that's where it is. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to set those environment variables. It's going to point at the Kerberos configuration and the key tab, the corresponding key tab, right? And that should fix it. Then it should be able to use the key tab and award the badge. Perfect. Let's commit this change. Push it, and we're going to deploy it. I'm going to do that. Our deploy goes through the other terminal that I'm going to switch to now. Huh. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, let me reconnect to the server. I've moved my computer. Badges. Okay, I'll run the deploy and it should update the cron job with the right environment variable. And then I'll be able to run the cron job, like force run the cron job if necessary. It's likely that the errors for the other one is the same. So that's good. Award lifecycle has never run, right? It's probably not a frequent cron job. It's running it's running only on the, well, on Wednesdays at 2:40. Okay, that's why. Probably never been run. That's fine. Okay. So we have that. It seems to be running. I am going to wait for the front end to be fixed by Ryan, and then maybe it's gonna work. I have still things that I need to check in fedbadges, make sure that it's actually running properly. But it might, like, I might be like maybe 2-3 weeks away from pushing that to production if things go well. Maybe I'll push that. I might be able to push that to production after the release of Fedora 40. I think that would be a good time frame to do that. Or maybe just before it. So we award badges whenever, if that's relevant. It's still not great in the sense that the way that badges are defined is maybe a little bit complex. I would really love to be able to have multiple consumers for this sort of thing. But if I have multiple consumers to share the load, then I can't be sure that, well, maybe that would work. that could actually work. Okay, so let's think. In which cases do I not want to have multiple consumers for badges? So whenever you have multiple consumers with RabbitMQ as a broker, it will distribute the messages in a round-robin fashion to each consumer. So you'll get first message on consumer 1, second message on consumer 2, third message on consumer 1, fourth message on consumer 2, etc., etc. Right? So that might be a problem if I get a message A that depends on message B. But that's not logical. I mean, that can't happen, right? In which case would I want messages to be processed consecutively by the same consumer? Because I'm going to look into Datanommer for existing messages anyway, right? I should be able to have multiple consumers. Yep. Let's say, for example, that something action A happens after action B, action B happens after action A, right? And action B needs to wants to look at the results of action A, for example, so it really requires it. I'm going to get message A in consumer 1. Imagine that takes a lot of time for whatever reason, because that, for example, the internal queue is overloaded for it, I don't know. Let's say it takes more time and message B arrives in consumer 2 and it's processed first. Then, if it requires the result of action A to have been processed, it's going to fail, but it never does because it's going to look into Datanommer. And in Datanommer, both messages are going to be there, right? Because Datanommer only has one consumer, it processes things in order. So as soon as it sees message B, it means that message A has already been put in the database. So it doesn't really need for message A to have been processed by fedbadges. It needs for message A to have been processed by Datanommer. So I think it should work. I think we should be able to have multiple consumers. And as a result, it means that we can have rules that take quite a bit of time to process, making complex queries. And in theory, it shouldn't clog the queue. Yeah, I think that's good news. I think that means that badges is going to be able to handle much more load. There are badges that have been, actual badges, rules, that have been removed from the repo because they were causing too much load on the badges processor. For example, rules that match on copper builds, because there's so much copper builds these days. And it was taking too much time. But if we can have as many consumers as we want, then it doesn't matter. All right, I think that's good news. Cool. Okay, that's one less problem to worry about. So, provided that the front end gets fixed soon, I think that the consumer right now isn't in a worse place than it was before. I'm going to have a look at what deployment config is deprecated. You should migrate to deployments instead of deployment config. Huh, interesting. I'll have a look at that later. Yeah, there is no health checks. How could I could have some thing that listens on a port and for health check reporting. That's not fantastic. I mean, that's anyway. There's one pod. Where are the logs? Source. That's where it is. View logs. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of them, of course. There's quite a few of them, actually. That's all the... It's the existing log because that the time is 29th of... Yeah, that's today. But it's still at 2 UTC. And the time right now, I think, is 15 UTC. So there's... Yeah, that's gonna take a while. Let's just not do that. Okay. Okay, so I think it's in a good shape. Okay, so what do we want to do today? Do we have something that you want to have a look at? There's some subjects. I could go and check my GitHub notifications because there might be things that I've missed. There might be things that I've missed from the outreachy people. That's a very big pull request that Adam has worked on. So not now. Not getting notifications from release monitoring. That's interesting. I'll have a look at it. Is that an old thing? Yeah, that's an old thing. I haven't had to have time to look at it, but I should probably do that. Typo here. I should remove all the things that have been merged already. CI workflow, I know that. That's fine. Yeah, I've migrated Datanommer to using rough also. So why did it fail? It shouldn't have failed. What's wrong with this test? No module MDM in test consumer. Ah, that may be something that I need to fix. What is this? Let me go to Datanommer. Was it Datanommer? Yes. Datanommer consumer. Test consumer. DM. Oh yeah, that's stupid. Import DM as DM. Okay, sorry about that. Import datanommer.models as DM, of course. Of course. That's a current pass that has gone wrong. Not sure why I pushed that, but I guess that's how it is. Let's just make sure that it doesn't crash right from the bat. Passed. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. That's fine. Okay. Fix the typo. Ah, right. Well, yeah, of course. That's not formatted. That's much better, obviously. Okay, pushing that, and it should fix the tests that were failing in there. I've also migrated Fedora messaging to rough. I haven't pushed that yet, I think. I was just doing that this morning, actually. So it's a big change. Touches a lot of files. As you can see, that's quite a lot of files that have been changed because there's changing in the formatting as well, changing in the... There's quite a few changes that have been fixed, but it should be better now. Yeah, I still haven't pushed that. Let me run the tests first. Yeah, if I want to run the tests, the integration test, I need to have RabbitMQ running. Server. Yes, RabbitMQ server. So I want to go with checks. I'm going to run the unit tests, and then I'm going to run the integration tests. Do it. If that works, then I'm going to push that to upstream. That said, I'm not sure I made a news fragment. Let me do that. Yep, I didn't do that. Let's do it. What is the extension that it should have? Feature, no, dev, obviously dev. So run town crier create -c is the content of the file. That's exactly this. Laptop, why are you so slow? Thank you. And I want to name it. I can't see anything because of the chat on my screen. That's a bit annoying. And it doesn't even show the chat, it just shows the people. So let me move that a little bit away from my face right now. Thanks. Hey, I didn't see the message. Hello, Nikishab. Greetings, greetings. Nice to see you here. So, name of the file is going to start with a plus because it's not associated with a commit or a pull request. Or is it? Don't I have something? I've never set an issue somewhere in Fedora Messaging about moving to rough. I might have. No, maybe not. Maybe not. All right, maybe not. Anyway, there it is. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Adding my new news fragment. And now adding it to my previous commit. Thank you for fixing the end of the line. I'm trying again. Done. Okay, what are the... Oh, it's failing. Okay, so I can't... That's the integration test failing. Much interesting. Very interesting. Do I have other tests that failed before? It doesn't look like it. Yeah, all the unit tests passed. That's cool. The checks, they passed. Good. Unit tests all passed. Very good. Do I have warnings? Yes, I do. Using PKG resources? Yeah, I agree. That's crap. Shouldn't be using declare namespace. Oh, maybe that's not me. Am I still using PKG resources? I don't think I do. I didn't think I was still using PKG resources. Oh, I still am. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I need to change that. What's the replacement for iter entry points? Not sure. So it's deprecated. That's good and well, but what has it been replaced with? Import lib resources. Path, contents, read text. Okay. Import lib metadata, possibly. Entry points, that's where it is. Okay, so I can totally move that to entry points. Okay, nice. First, I'm going to fix the failures here. Dict keys object is not an iterator. Huh. So the first one should be easy to fix because dict keys, that's... Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. That's something that I fixed with as advised by Ruff, but I shouldn't have actually. Well, or I should do differently. I should change that to an iterator. I thought I didn't have to, but yeah, that's fine. So what else? Timeout error. Consumer is already canceling. Fixing that. Now I want to fix the other integration errors, which one was it? Test published channel error. I want to check that, definitely. I don't want to have inserted errors by moving to rough. That would be bad. Anshika, are you an outreach student? You might be, right? I think I recognize your name from somewhere. That fails. Fails as well. Okay, do I have an error somewhere in the logs? Big timeout error. That shouldn't happen. So let me start Visual Studio Code and see where I can get the information that I want. Okay, that is Datanommer. That's not what I'm interested in right now. I want to open Fedora Messaging. Right, and I want to look at integration test API. .661. Test API line 661. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Hopefully you can read that. where that is. That's it. Okay. PyTest.fail, consumer does not receive both messages. Okay. So what are we trying to do here? Assert publishing recovers from a channel error. That's fine. Publish, okay. Break the channel and publish again. Right, so I'm starting to consume here, and then I'm running, 5 seconds later, I'm running delayed publish. Counting callback. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to print some things. Okay, so it's trying to receive 2 messages, and when it's to receive 2 messages, it halts the consumer. That's all good. Print message. Or I'm going to print that. And I'm going to print my steps. So there's going to be here, one here, one here, because I want to know where I'm stopping. It's a bit basic. I mean, normal people would use a debugger. but that's going to be visual. Oh yeah, I should use -s so it doesn't capture the output. So I got the one message. Good. I got two messages. Okay, because I got x1, x2, 3, 4, got the second message, and then I'm supposed to be closing the... Yeah. Okay. I got the second message, right? So show me what my storage is. Do it. All right, so it's setting things up, connecting to the bus. Okay. Got ID, blah, 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 topic, header, body. Okay. Default dict. Why is it the same? Oh! Oh yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that can't work, of course. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's why it didn't fail. Okay, it was really, of course. So there was an error in rough that was telling me that I shouldn't use a mutable argument. At first, there was default dict right here. Okay. And default dict is a mutable argument, so it was telling me that I shouldn't use a mutable argument, and I just replaced it with an unmutable argument. It was the usual thing. The problem is that this code was depending on having a mutable argument, depending on the side effect of programming something wrong, basically. So, not good. I'm going to fix that, and I know there's another place where this method was used, and I'm going to... it's probably failing for the same reason, actually. Yeah. Counting callback. Okay, so I can remove those and those, and I'm pretty sure that it's gonna start working magically. All right, what say you? Boom! And it worked. It's crashing. It's putting a big traceback, but I expect that, so that's good. Let me run the integration tests again. I'm pretty sure that that's what was failing. Cheers to that. Okay, so once I have checked that all the integration tests work, then all my tests should be good. I'll be able to push these changes to Fedora Messaging. And what else did I want to do? Yes, PKG resources. I wanted to get rid of that. So in the meantime, this change, I'm gonna add it to my existing, commit. I meant my commit with this change. Okay, so now let's get rid of PKG resources. It's in various places. The most important one, being the configuration or the message. Both, actually. Well, let's all get rid of that. Let's get back to this. PKG resources. So there, I am definitely not using PKG resources anymore because my dependency on the version of Python that I'm dependent on this time is 3.8. So let me look at the Python docs. This import lib starts with 3.8. Right, so I have it available. Let's use it. Import lib.metadata, or rather, where's from import lib.metadata import. I want to iter over the entry points, so that's entry points. Right? Something that I can iter on. Yeah, it's entry points, all right. Points. So now I want to iter over entry points, and it's group, right? Group equal fedora.messages. That's the entry points that I want to iterate over. And now my entry points are going to be... I can load it. Can I load the result directly? It's going to give me an entry point instance. Or entry points, does it have? Oh. Nah, it hasn't the argument, that's fine. Yes, it can do load, that's fine. Ah. So I'm on 3.8. Let me look at the documentation for 3.8 instead of looking at the documentation for something bigger that I'm going to fail. Keyed by group. Right, so I can't use the later API. I have to I can't do that. I have to do entry points get and that's going to be a list, right? Or that's going to be a dictionary. I think that's going to be a dictionary. No, it's going to be a list. It's going to be a list of entry points, right? Yes, that's going to be a list of entry points. Okay, that's fine. I think that works. That works on Python 3.8, and that's going to work on later versions as well. That's good. I can copy this construct and keep it probably for other places. Feel like this is going to be necessary here. from all right, so that's good. Okay, so what else? Who's using it? It's getting the versions here, so that's not the same thing. Get distributions, parse version. Okay, all good. Okay, so that's a different thing now. Click version. How do I get a version with import lead metadata? That's very easy. Functional API, distribution version, that's the thing. From okay, from import lib.metadata import version. Yes, don't need this. So click version is definitely version. Okay, it's past version. What's past version? Do I have something that I can use to compare? Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Do I do this somewhere else? Like, do I actually want to check for click below set.0? Or what's my dependency on click? I'm actually asking for 8. Okay, so that's a check that I can totally remove, right? Click is never going to be 6 dot something. So I do not need that check. Thank you, that's one less thing to worry about. And now I want to, okay, yeah, that's better. I'm not using PKG resources anymore, thank you very much, but I am going to run from import lib.metadata import version. And so here I'm actually looking at version of this, right? Yes. And in CLI I've added that, but I don't actually use it, so get away. And here it's not properly, okay. Okay, so I think I got rid of PKG resources. Let me look at my unit test run, see where we're at. It seems to be happy. Unhandled error indefinite. Yeah, that's not really a problem. I think that's something that is pretty unavoidable with integration tests. All right, so that's good. So I can keep this in place, and now I'm going to save the rests. Let's create a no. Get rid of PKG resources. That's not really a feature. let's, what types do I have? I have a lot of types for town crier, security API deprecated, no feature, bug, docs, dev, or other. I suppose that's an other change, it's like the dependencies, it's fine. So what are my changes here? I'm getting rid of PKG resources, that's good. Okay, still good, still good. Okay, let's run the tests. I prefer running the unit test first, see if things fail, or maybe I misused the library, I don't know. Ah yeah, things fail. Probably made a mistake somewhere. I'm expecting a mistake in how it's loading the message classes. Boom! All right, so what do I have? Entry points object has no object get. Has not repeat get. Okay. Can you do that with Python 3.8 and see if that works better or not? Yeah, that's a bit annoying. It's annoying, but I'll make it work. So this API has changed quite a bit. So I'm gonna get EPS equal entry points. I would prefer doing something like group equal Fedora messages, of course. And maybe so that's gonna fail in Python 3.8. It should fail. Well, no need to run all the tests, just fail at the first. Thank you very much. Crash. Got unexpected. Okay, so that's a type error. I can catch that. Which version was it? Python 3.10. All right, this should work now. This should work with Python 3.8 and Python 3.10 or more. So 12, for example. All right. Do it with 10, Python 3.10. And it works. All right, so that's fair. I think I've gotten rid on all the PKG resources entries. That's good. Thank you for fixing the end of line. Okay. That's good. Okay, so we're definitely a little bit better now. Let's push it to the repo. Okay, in theory, I'm gonna watch the unit tests on this one, the CI on this one, because I want to make sure that I'm not missing something being broken. What about Datanommer? I've pushed some change. Oh, typo is still failing. Why is it? Ah, some failure still here. What's going on? Server closed the connection. Server closed the connection. That's not my fault. Definitely not my fault. Rerun the failed jobs, please. Okay, what about Fedora messaging? At least the mixed tests have worked. That's good. This can be kind of slow. Okay. So I have this branch where I've extracted a publish function, API function that works with Twisted, but I want to rebase it on develop. And I'm going to run the checks again because I would like to make sure, because all those tests with rough weren't done in this branch. So just making sure that it's still valid. Still running properly on Python 3.12, for example. Well, it's a simple function that I'm adding, but it's just, yeah, I haven't really tested it so well. I would like to test it first before I push it to the repo. It's a function, the function that I've added lets a consumer that is currently consuming message also send a message. And we haven't used that before, but now in fedbadges, we do that. We consume a message and we're also sending a message when we award the badge. So I would like that to be available. Ah, still failing. What's the reason this time? Server closed the connection. I'm just getting the message. I still think that's not my fault, but it's starting to look suspicious. Can't reconnect until invalid transaction is rolled back. That is why. Okay, that's a very good reason. So I have this invalid connection, invalid transaction before, and okay, so I've made this invalid transaction. Okay, let me try to reproduce that locally. That'll be in Datanommer, Datanommer models, docs. It's Python 3.10. It's 10, right? Oh, 11 as well. Do it. So I think one of them has a failed transaction that it doesn't roll back. It's probably a failure somewhere in my... okay, I'm gonna open another Visual Studio Code for that. For Datanommer. It's a bit more random and less structured than what I used to do in the streams, but if you want me to have a look at something specific, you know, feel free to shout, and I'll definitely have a look at it. I can interrupt myself. I can do that later. It's all good. Yeah. Right, so where was I? Yes, in my tests in Datanommer models, there is probably one of them that fails the transaction. No, that's the testing module. That's not the tests. The tests are here. It's using Datanommer models, so it's using those. And I thought it would, maybe that's where this is wrong. Maybe this is wrong somewhere. Closing the session. Is it always the same test that fails? I have it. Add missing message ID. Okay, that's definitely reproducible. That's all good. I'll fix it. As long as something is reproducible, it's fixable. You just need to dig deep enough. So name is add missing message ID. Generate the message, add it, okay. And it fails on, I think it fails here. So what's the result of the add function? Add function should be, it should be one of these functions. It should be here. And it's supposed to return something. It doesn't return anything actually. It runs message.create and commits it. What happens if I run these tests in isolation? Like alone, not with the others. Because maybe the error is in test from message ID. Oops. Was there something wrong with this? Nah. No. Let me clear things a little bit because there's just too many things here. That's the consumer. That's the commands. Not this. Not interested in this. Let's Abstract user is fine. Test consumer. Okay. Oh, it's still using etc now? That's bad. I'm gonna stop that. Test, add missing ID. Okay, run just this test and see if it fails or not. Because it's run right after from message ID. So there might be something in from message ID that is failing. This one works. Oh, it passes. Okay. So maybe not this message ID, but maybe unclassified category or... Because I'm running... I should be doing session.rollback each time, right? Run all the tests from test model. Oh yeah, and maybe don't capture the output. See if we can see something weird. No init twice, because it's maybe there's an error message in a test that passes and I don't see it. I think I'm doing a rollback from the session each time. Oh, well, yeah, there's that. Models.init line 260. Yeah, I mean, if... Oh, well, I'm printing the exception. That should be all right. It doesn't matter. I'm just printing this exception actually. It's actually all good, and I'm handling it in classified category. It's a bit weird to do it that way, but it's fine. It passes. So that's where it should fail now. Should have run with -x as well, so it doesn't. So it stops right after the failing test, which is this one. Okay, let's see if it still fails. If I select my tests with test model and not test init. Let's see if that selects the right tests that I want to. So I'm not getting the tests in it. If it passes, it means that there's something in the tests in it that bring about this error of having the rollback and all that. The rollback not correct. Having to roll back while I actually am doing that. I see this up is on the list. Hello. Ah, it passes. Good. Then let me... Oh no, that's from message ID. Okay, this one was always supposed to pass. it's the add missing message ID that was failing. I'm sure there's a side effect. It still fails. Okay, I'm sure there's a side effect coming from one of those two. And I don't know what it is. You see here, it doesn't say anything about having to roll back. Oh, does it? Not seeing this. Because the query is simple, means select all the message properties from messages, done. Why does it fail? Could it be this test that makes it fail? I'm surprised, really. Here I'm just running. So if I run the test alone, it's fine. It's fine. If I run this with these two tests before, test from message ID, that seems so normal. It's kind of tricky. In theory, I am doing a rollback when using Datanommer.models. And I'm using those here, and I'm using them here. Oh. What if I do it in a different way? Instead of doing this, I do a execute.scalar 1. Would you be happy about that? So it is still failing. It is still failing. So now I'm running test from message ID. I think I'll be running just these two. It's a bit slow. Iterations are slow, so it's all taking some time. So something in the logs here said sorry, a bit hungry. Time for some nuts. Pending rollback. Please roll back fully before proceeding. Okay, you know what? I'm going to change something. That still fails. Does it say anything about a rollback here? I'm going to change something in the code, and instead of rollbacking here, I'm just commit. I'm just going to commit. Because I'm going to destroy this database anyway. Right after that, so it doesn't matter whether I roll back or commit, I'm going to remove it anyway. Still hungry. Okay, that's the one that I should be looking for. Failed. I don't get it. I don't think I do anything weird in there. Okay, do I have anything in the server logs? It closed the connection unexpectedly. Okay, fine. But why? Maybe it doesn't like me opening many transactions or something like this. That's the log. Timescale DB, okay, that's all good. Drop database if exists tests. Drop database if exists test template. Do I need to wait a little bit for all the timescale.db stuff to stop? So I have the log from PostgreSQL here. Can I add more debug log maybe? -d, okay, perfect. -d. Okay, so that's gonna be here. Let's test it. It fails reliably. That's one thing, I suppose. Okay, by the way, I should look at the Fedora messaging tests. Okay, that works. That I'm pretty happy about. So I can make maybe a new release of Fedora messaging, a 3.5.1, or, well, in theory, there are new features, so it should be 3.6. There isn't really a new feature. There would be a new feature if I merged the other branch. Can definitely deploy to 3.5.1. It fails. Okay, why? Hopefully I have a lot more logs. What do I have this time? Ah, yeah, there's much more logs. That's cool. Okay, debug, blah, 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 blah. Last one is being that process. Okay. Déconnexion. That's the drop database. Alter database, that's after my test. What's that? Select PG terminate backend. Definitely not my stuff. PG terminate backend. That's after my test. I think that's the shutting down process. Alter database doesn't allow connections. That's okay. Okay, alter database, okay. Instruction commits, okay. Instruction is commit, okay. Insert into messages. Ah, okay. Is that my test? It's generate message, so that's exactly the right message. Okay, and I'm doing an add on it. So this insert into messages. Encouragement, I know this one is correct. Constraint, alter table, blah, 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 constraint. Okay, that's all the triggers that have happened that are created by timescale DB. Then the commit that is here, I suppose that's the commit at the end of the add function. Would make sense. Right, there's a message.create here, and then there's session.commit. So I think that's this commit. Right, and I should be doing a select in theory. Deconnection, disconnection. Is there a select? Create hyper table, that's not good. That's not what I'm looking at. Ah, a custom message ID. Okay, that was my query for the test right before that. Why does it work but not here? What's wrong with this query? Is there anything wrong with that? It's just selecting all the messages. I don't understand. Well, it's not wrong in itself because it works if I run it by itself. I don't understand really. What's going on? That's before. Return path stream. Disconnect. Server process has exited. Okay, that's good. Why is server process has exited really? Why? Why would... Huh. Forked a new backend. Ah, yeah, that's maybe a process that is specific to the database itself. That is annoying. I have no idea what's going on really. Print the port, please, so I know which port I am looking at. That's really a bit annoying. I want to match my test output with the logs and see which part in the log is corresponding to my actual test and which part is corresponding to the other tests. So I'm running this, I'm printing the port, and hopefully I'll be able to match it. Yeah, that's a previous test, that is all good. It's gonna fail again. Also, I've printed some query string so I can just check it, but I don't see why that would be wrong. Okay, it's always the same actually. Yeah, that wasn't so useful. Yeah, that wasn't so useful because my server process is run just once for the entire test suite. Okay, that was useless. Nice try, but no. Just creating the engine. Should I? Should I just dispose the engine as well? Don't think I should. So yeah, I printed stuff. It's probably above. That's my mess. It has there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally normal. Maybe I can print the time though. Instead of doing this, I can print I have no idea what's going on and why things fail. Fatal, okay. But that's normal, that's because I ask it to stop. Like, it's not even running. That's the part that is a bit annoying. It is not even running. There's the request, and that's the request for the old one. It's not even running the new request. Maybe there's an insert that I can look at. So there's an insert into messages. Okay. That's the encouragement thing, but I should probably use something different. Let me use something different so I can match it. Well, it's going to be not bad for now. I don't understand. So I think it's not really entertaining. Is it useful for you for me to look at how to look at me banging my head against this wall again and again, or oh yeah, I haven't committed that, but that's fine. I'm sure I'm gonna end up finding what's happening, but right now it's really unclear. But I'll keep digging. At least it's reproducible, right? It's not a race condition somewhere. That would be very annoying. Okay, so this is passing, and then the next test is supposed to fail. Database has been created. Now run the tests. It's very slow, I understand. Okay, so it's happening at 17:24:25. I'm gonna look at the logs for this. That's after. That's after. That's the insert for not bad. Okay, that's my insert. Okay. There's going to be a commit after that. Yes, there's a commit after that. The commit seems to work, and then it disconnects. Why would it do that? Commit transaction instruction commit, okay. Why is it exceeding? I'm sure it's something stupid, but I'm not finding why. What? I'm doing the exact same thing as before. It generates a message ID, that's all good. Why does it choose to disconnect at that time? Where does this disconnection instruction come from? It may still be a race condition. So there's a commit here that ends with a disconnect. In the previous test, the one where I was inserting the previous message, yeah, there's a lot of data here. Okay, there's much more logs than I thought. All that for an insert, okay. And that's the previous insert. Okay, so the previous insert had a commit afterwards, which is normal. And it did disconnect as well. So when was the select done? Okay, let me search for insert or select. So that's my insert into message. Before that, there was a creation of the database. That's the select that comes after my insert. So there's an insert into message with, okay, with a commit, fine. And then there is some sort of disconnect, right? There is a disconnection. Forced new backend connection received. Reaping that process. Connection received. 54428. Then there's a begin and a select. Why did it fail when it was my second call? Still thinking that something is happening behind the scenes. I'm gonna add some sleep. It's not great, but maybe it'll help. should be a rollback, honestly, here. So I can differentiate with the other one. One from add. Ooh, 5:30 already. How time flies when you have fun. For some definitions of fun. Okay. I have the insert here. Implicit index, blah, 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 for table helper. I'm going to try something else. So here in testing, I have this engine that doesn't have a pool. Let me try to create an engine that has a connection pool. Let's see if that changes anything. Because maybe it'll be able to reuse the connection. Or like there'll be the pool that reuses the connection. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the pool doesn't want to reuse the same connection multiple times, and I don't know. Might be plenty of reasons why this. Nope. Not helpful. Okay, let's add a big sleep time, like 5 seconds, for example. Let's do everything that I can. I'm rolling back, destroying, closing the session, disposing of the engine, sleeping 5 seconds. I think I'm gonna stop there because it's not getting anywhere. And I'd rather dig into that on my own, because I feel like I'm a bit spreading out, and the work on Fedora messaging was more useful. I should be able to publish that. Well, I was at, yeah, the one on the twisting endpoint, the twisted publish endpoint, API endpoint, requires some work on badges, because that's where I'm going to test it. That's what I'm going to test it with. Or maybe I can do that with an integration test. That would be even preferable, because yeah, I'll try to do that with an integration test. Make sure that I get branch. Which branch am I in? Yes. Test API, because there's plenty of things in the integration test, by the way, that I haven't really looked at deeply. Get queue and binding, stop service, consume cancel. Publish channel error, that's the one. Well, one of those that I want to. vhost. So that's one of the tests that I want to reproduce. Sorry. Yes. Let's look at the integration tests. So what do I want to do for this test? I want publish from callback, right? Okay. So I have this callback that is going to be I'm getting a message, and I'm going to try to do a reactor.call from thread. Should I await that? Nah. Reactor.call from thread, API.twisted publish. Received. Topic is going to be, because I don't want to have loops, topic is going to be repeater. That's the call from thread. And then stop. Okay, bindings is not really what's queue and bindings. Ah, that's the thing. Exchange routing key. Okay, so the binding is going to be different. Binding.0.routing key is going to be different. Where is my mouse? It's right here. It's going to be source, because I don't want to get the repeat, right? I want to have the original only. So I'm binding to oh no, I'm gonna hold the consumer, so that's all good. I'm gonna hold the consumer anyway. So I can check that I only get one. Right, and I want, there's probably other things that I will want to check, but just making sure that this actually works. I'm gonna print stuff as usual. Is this gonna work? I don't know. How about the other one? It failed. Still the same error. Oh yeah, wait. I need to look at the what's the time when it failed? 17:36:56. Okay. Still failing after 5 seconds. Insert into message. I don't get it. Why would it fail this way? Wait, I can do, since that doesn't help, I can move let's move this query here and see what happens. No, not that. Let's move the query in the add function and see what happens. Oh, okay, what about you? Oh, that fails. Fails because there is no current event loop. Wait, what? Oh, no, CGI is deprecated via certainly not surprised about that. Wait, so why did it fail? What? Oh, it didn't find any, maybe. Yeah, there is no tests. Test publish from callback. That's not how it's called? In integration? Oh, maybe I need to save that file. Dummy. Okay, the other one, oh, it's better to do 2 programs at the same time, because then when you have to wait, it's much less annoying. Still closing the connection. But when is it closing the connection? Here I'm at 1746.49. And it did print something. So somehow, I don't get it. I don't get it. It must be something stupid. It has to. Because I'm doing this add here. I'm calling add, printing the thing. Is session different or what's session? Is my session different? I mean, maybe. I'm not looking at, no, I'm looking at the right one. Okay, what about you? Okay, that's... Oh. Message. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, my bad. Test API. Yeah, sorry about that. Of course. Yeah, that's a lot of confusion. There you go. And here, I'm almost there. So in test, the session object is this. No. Bring it back. So in test, that's my session object. Oh, that's not the same. It's not the same session object. No, oh, hey, that's not the same thing. Ah, yeah, there it is. It is not the same session object. Right? Okay, that may be why. In add, I have a session object, and in test, I have a different session object. Why is it? Oh, yes. Oh, I know why. That, of course, I know why. Okay, I think I know why. Okay, that's absolutely crazy, but of course it was a stupid thing. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I have this right now. So, we are here importing session from Datanommer.models from the module. So the name here, session, is the session that was in Datanommer.models when we import this file. But then, in my testing here, I am replacing this session object by another one. So this has become outdated. Oh. Okay. Let's do it differently then. So add, yeah, well, not add, but so all the add functions I'm going to replace by, all of them I'm going to replace. Yes, there's a lot. Yes. There's many. dm.add. That's one. All the init functions I'm going to replace. Yes, there's many, not so many. dm.init. Oh, wait. There might be others. No more? That's all? Okay. All the init functions, I'm replacing them. All the message objects. So stupid. I knew it had to be something crazy. Where is my message instance, please? Wait. Let's do it differently. Let's do that and see what breaks. There we are. Of course. All these. Seriously. This is gone. Package is still used somewhere. Use the old technique. Oh, suddenly I have problems. Why didn't I think of that earlier? And the most important one, session. Of course, that is wrong. Do it. Okay, where are you at here? Okay. And things failed because PyTest.fail. Okay. So that's expected. And I want to know when I'm publishing things. Where am I going to know that? Probably in the factory. I think the factory has the publish call that I'm trying to watch for. Yes, it does. Yes, of course. Do it again. And that passes, of course. All right, that was not obvious, but I mean, should have thought of that. I should have tried that earlier. So let's go back to what I had before I tried all the different possibilities. I'm happy I found that. At least that's done. So there was this attempt at fixing the issue. And still there's one failure. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. But that's just because I went a bit crazy with my encouragement. Oh, wait, no, that's nothing. That's something all. That's something different. Oh, yes. Test grep all. Right. I'm grepping all. Huh. Oh. So example message.body. Oh yeah, I know what I missed. No. I must have made a mistake. That's example message dot. Wait, what? Well, that's wrong, right? Result 0 dot message. What did I do wrong? R are the results, right? Len of R is 1, R dot 0 dot message is supposed to be the body, okay? And it is a list. How could it be a list? Well, the other one is a... Yes, okay, that's because something went wrong. Probably here, body or this. I don't have a comma at the end. Fine. Okay, let me try that again. Test grep all. I may have forgotten the comma somewhere. That's probably on me. Okay, well, at least my problem, the problem that I had with this one is fixed. So I'm gonna keep going on my own, I think. What's that? Yes, publishing, blah, blah, publishing, blah, blah. With pass message. Topic, repeat. Yes, and received is an empty body because the other, yes, so that works. I can check that later. I can actually ensure that later. That's okay. Okay, so I have a list of one element, and the other one is a tuple of one element. Okay, so that's possibly because the grep signature has changed. Like, that's definitely the signature that should not change. Returning this as a list. Wait, what? Because query, oh, maybe that's where I'm wrong. Right, I'm selecting message. Here. What is scholars actually? And I'm supposed to be returning yeah, give me more information. What if I do .all? Does this work? Okay, I'm gonna finish on my own. There's still a few things, but nothing major. All this big problem that I banged my head against for like an hour or two is I know where it comes from, and I'm gonna fix that. Well, it's kind of fixed. I just have other smaller things to fix before it's all good. Okay, so let me actually disconnect this time. Computer is so slow. I hope the encoding wasn't too horrible. Bringing this back here. All right, everyone. I'm gonna stop here, and I will see you next time. I'm not sure I'll be there. Am I going to be here next week? Yes, I think so. Okay, see you next week. And it was nice being here and sharing this debugging session and hair pulling session. Even though you see I don't have so much anymore. I've been pulling too many of them. It was nice sharing that with you, and I hope that brought you something. At least I hope you had a good time. I don't know. I can imagine you like with a bag of popcorn and watching me pull my hair against these problems. Or like, eh, ha 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 ha, look, ha ha, that was here all the time, ha ha ha, so bad. Yeah, it's all good. All right, see you next week and have fun.